Good, happy Thursday morning, January 16, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this morning, so let's begin. First up, Salem Police Sergeant accused of leading police on high-speed chase in 2012. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Siobhan Lopez.
This economy is not working for most of us. There is not one county in the United States of America where someone working full-time at the minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment. The biggest problem in our economy is simple. People are not getting paid enough.
The Attorney General's office says these charges stem from information that was uncovered during a review of this department that started more than a year ago. Salem Police Sergeant Michael Verrocchi is charged with reckless conduct with a deadly weapon and disobeying an officer.
Concerning given that he was an officer at the time and nevertheless is still alleged to have engaged in this conduct.
According to the Attorney General's office, back in November of 2012, while off duty, Verrocchi failed to stop his vehicle for other Salem police officers while allegedly driving recklessly. Then, during the high-speed pursuit that ensued, he's accused of running a red light and avoiding spike strips.
This is conduct that was uncovered during the course of our investigation that's been ongoing.
The Attorney General's office began its review of the Salem Police Department in November of 2018. Verrocchi was placed on paid administrative leave in February of last year when he was one of several Salem officers named by the AG's office as being under criminal investigation. It's been 7 years since the alleged incident and almost a year since the investigation into Verrocchi was launched, but authorities can't comment on how they uncovered the allegations or why it took so long for charges to be filed.
I really can't get into more details with respect to that simply because the arrest warrant affidavit is currently sealed.
Salem Police released a statement saying it continues to cooperate with the Attorney General's office. And they say per policy, the department policy, Verrocchi will remain on paid leave. We're live in Salem tonight. Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Gyrocopter crashes during landing attempt at Nashua Airport. Pilot suffers minor injuries, police say. A small aircraft crashed Wednesday afternoon at Nashua Airport. Emergency crews rushed to the airport shortly before 3 p.m. after a gyrocopter, a small single-seat helicopter, went off the runway and rolled over during a landing attempt. Police said the pilot suffered minor injuries and was taken to the hospital for treatment. First flu-related death of season reported in New Hampshire. Victim is adult from Rockingham County. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
This economy is not working for most of us. There is not one county in the United States of America where someone working full-time at the minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment. The biggest problem in our economy is simple. People are not getting paid enough.
New Hampshire's first influenza-related death comes in the middle of flu season, which starts in October and can go well through the spring.
Flu season is far from over. It's all the way through to June. I got the flu last year in May.
Dr. Hoffley in Manchester is reminding people of what to look for.
If you get symptoms where you have high fevers and shakes and chills and a persistent cough, you certainly need to call us and let us know, because there is treatment available.
Doctors say that treatment isn't necessarily the antibiotics some people ask for. And to help educate people about when they do and don't need the powerful drugs, Dartmouth Hitchcock Manchester is offering wellness kits.
Most of the time when we get a cold, or even if we get the flu, we certainly don't need to be on antibiotics, and we don't want to be part of creating bugs out there in the community that are antibiotic resistant. So we put these kits together for you that have the Kleenex that you need, and some hand sanitizer, which is very important for preventing the spread of disease, and some lip balm if you get all dried out.
And doctors say it's not too late to get your flu shot. It can start working within a couple weeks. Monica?
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Trial starts for Portsmouth man accused of shooting at teen who entered home. Prosecutors say man fired on teen who entered home accidentally. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
In August of 2018, Oscar Lalime entered the home of Mark Gray and Brenna Kavanaugh on Summer Street in Portsmouth by accident. He thought his friends were there.
Oscar parks his car, he gets out, he walks across the street, and he goes to the front door. It's open, it's unlocked, so he goes inside. He thinks it's a party.
Kavanaugh is a former Portsmouth police commissioner. She and Gray have met Lalime before. Prosecutors say the couple were in bed upstairs and both panicked when they heard someone in the house. Investigators say Gray grabbed his gun as Lalime ran out and got into his truck and started to back up. Gray and Kavanaugh followed.
And that's when Oscar hears Brenna say shoot.
Prosecutors say Gray fired his gun 6 times at the truck. Lalime was not shot.
3 of those shots struck the vehicle, causing more than $1,500 worth of damage. And 3 of those shots went off into the community.
Gray's attorney says his client was acting in self-defense.
Mark was in fear of his life. Mark was in fear of Brenna's life.
Lalime described how he felt as gunshots were being fired.
Because I was scared. I mean, I had parents running after me. I've never had that happen before. It was kind of terrifying.
When he got into his car, Lalime says when he threw his truck into reverse, he hit a pole.
Also, driving away, shots were also still getting fired.
Gray faces several charges, including reckless conduct with a deadly weapon. Kavanaugh was convicted of being an accomplice to attempted first-degree assault and criminal mischief and has appealed her sentence. Testimony will start again tomorrow morning. We are told this trial will last for several days into next week. We're live in Brentwood tonight. Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Presidential campaigns tried to pick up Booker's endorsements. Candidate earned more than 100 endorsements before suspending campaign. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
This economy is not working for most of us. There is not one county in the United States of America where someone working full-time at the minimum wage can afford a 2-bedroom apartment. The biggest problem in our economy is simple. People are not getting paid enough.
Cory Booker's campaign was still warm when the phones of New Hampshire elected officials who endorsed the senator started ringing.
Within 5 minutes, I got a call.
Representative Anita Burrows, who threw her support behind Booker last summer, was bombarded until she settled on a second choice.
I am now endorsing Vice President Joe Biden because I think he's our best shot at taking back the White House in 2020.
Four-term state rep Bob Backus, a well-known environmental activist, endorsed Booker after the state party convention. Now, he's backing Michael Bennet.
He's not as young as Mayor Pete. He's not as old as some of the other candidates. And I kind of like that. He's got great experience as a school superintendent in Denver and a strong record in the U.S. Senate.
Booker developed a strong relationship with State Representative Latha Manjapudi of Nashua, joining her in observing the Festival of Dussehra, a Hindu holiday, last year. She wishes the senator was still in the race.
Oh, I can't even. It's pretty emotional.
While Manjapudi isn't excited about restarting her candidate search, she does expect to make another endorsement before the primary.
I will be putting my support behind someone soon, but I need the time to think it through.
The importance of primary endorsements is not what it used to be, but in a close and crowded race like 2020, in which just a few thousand votes could separate the winner from fourth place, any kind of validation the campaigns can blast out could provide a small but critical advantage.
The candidates themselves are going to chase Senator Booker for an endorsement directly from him, and now the campaigns are going to look for any New Hampshire attachment to a Booker campaign to be able to say, we're the ones with the momentum.
In Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Native Americans in New Hampshire disappointed by lack of outreach from candidates. Indonesia people say they hope diverse field would mean more attention. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
This economy is not working for most of us. There is not one county in the United States of America where someone working full-time at the minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment. The biggest problem in our economy is simple. People are not getting paid enough.
Paul Pulio, Sagamo of the Kawasuk Band of the Pennacook and Abenaki people, says he was hopeful as the most diverse field of presidential candidates in history took shape last year.
We figured there'd be more outreach to identifiable communities of diverse people, and it's not happening.
Beyond basically chance encounters, Pulio says there's been little interest from the campaigns in getting to know New Hampshire's small but vocal indigenous community.
People have asked us, how many candidates have actually met with you? And we said, well, it's only by happenstance we've met with Tulsi Gabbard, Williamson, and we had some correspondence with others that have dropped out of the race, but it's been very, very slow this cycle.
The Pulios were particularly interested in hearing from Elizabeth Warren.
We actually expected Elizabeth Warren to be more engaging because of the intrigue about her, self-identification as being an indigenous person. Maybe it was just too small a footprint for her to we have too small an image for her to get involved in.
The Pulios tell us they had a lot of interaction with campaigns and candidates back in 2016. This time around, they say it feels as if they're much more likely to encounter presidential hopefuls on social media or cable news than face-to-face.
I think it's time that people stop listening to that noise and focus on the real issues that we're dealing with.
I really don't understand this cycle at all. I don't understand it at all. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Adam Sexton, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. Rep. Annie Kuster endorses Pete Buttigieg in 2020 Democratic primary. Two scheduled to appear at Concord Rally Friday. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
This economy is not working for most of us. There is not one county in the United States of America where someone working full-time at the minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment. The biggest problem in our economy is simple. People are not getting paid enough.
And breaking Commitment 2020 news, first on News 9, the WMUR political team has confirmed that Congresswoman Annie Kuster will endorse Pete Buttigieg in the 2020 Democratic primary. They'll appear together at a rally in Concord on Friday, this ending a long period of courtship by the entire field seeking the Congresswoman's endorsement. Kuster frequently introduced candidates at events around the 2nd Congressional District. Her backing of Buttigieg is the former South Bend mayor's most high-profile endorsement in New Hampshire so far.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. features point to a higher open after U.S.-China trade deal. U.S. stock index features were higher Thursday morning ahead of another batch of corporate earnings. Articles of impeachment hand-delivered to the Senate. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Campaigning at the jail.
Sorry about that, fun.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night. And history was just made a short time ago in our nation's capital, the impeachment of a president advancing to the Senate for only the 3rd time in history. The president will now face a Senate trial. Just before we came on the air, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi taking the historic step, signing the 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump, one for abuse of power, the other for obstruction of Congress. The articles, look at this, then carried from one side of the Capitol to the other, about a 2.5-minute walk from the House to the Senate. This walk, this moment, hasn't been seen in 21 years. 7 members of Congress making the walk. They will present the case for senators to judge. Meantime, at the White House tonight, the president aware of this history made, but also trying to focus on his victory today. A split screen at the White House where he signed a preliminary trade deal with China. So what's next? How quickly does this move? Will there be witnesses? And with Republicans in control of the Senate, is the outcome all but certain? Mary Bruce, lead us off from the Hill tonight.
Tonight, an historic handoff. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi signing the 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump. Then, a solemn march across the Capitol. The articles hand-delivered to the Senate.
Make it be very clear that this president will be held accountable, that no one is above the law.
The Speaker today announcing the team of lawmakers that will prosecute the case against the president. 7 members of Congress led by Chairman Adam Schiff. During the trial, all 100 senators will have to sit silently and weigh the charges that the president abused his power and obstructed Congress by pressuring Ukraine to investigate his rival, Joe Biden.
The Senate is on trial. We will see whether they conduct a fair trial and allow the witnesses or conduct a cover-up.
Democrats insist there's more to uncover, and they're sending the Senate new evidence handed over by Lev Parnas, an associate of the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Among the documents, a note Parnas wrote himself. Get Ukrainian President Zelensky to announce that the Biden case will be investigated. Giuliani and Parnas saw the former American ambassador to the Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, as an obstacle, and text messages provided by Parnas suggest she may have been under physical surveillance. In the texts, Robert Hyde, a Trump supporter and congressional candidate, claims to have contact with a private security team monitoring the ambassador. She's talked to 3 people, Hyde told Parnas. Her phone is off, computer is off. She's next to the embassy. They'll let me know when she's on the move. And then these ominous words. They're willing to help if you would like a price. Guess you can do anything in the Ukraine with money. Hyde would not comment to ABC News. Yovanovitch was eventually fired. She later learned President Trump told the Ukrainian president she was going to go through some things.
I was very concerned.
Did you feel threatened?
I did.
Parnas also gave Congress a letter Giuliani sent to the president of Ukraine. Giuliani requesting a meeting in his capacity as personal counsel to President Trump and with his knowledge and consent.
That letter makes clear that Giuliani, in his own words, is acting at the behest and with the knowledge and consent of the president.
But one top Republican senator is unimpressed.
There's nothing much there that hasn't been already acknowledged by either the president or Mr. Giuliani.
So let's get right to Mary Bruce. She's live up on the Hill tonight. And Mary, tomorrow all 100 senators will be sworn in to act as jurors in the trial of President Trump.
And David, the Chief Justice, John Roberts, will administer that oath. He will be presiding over the entire Senate trial. Now, today, the president's team said they think it is, quote, extraordinarily unlikely that the trial lasts more than 2 weeks. David, we'll see.
Mary Bruce, it could be a long 2 weeks ahead. Thank you for that.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.